I'm back outside again. Watching my sons play. So, pardon me whenever I have to use the mommy voice. That's probably gonna happen at least once. But we'll see how it goes. I watched Bigger Than Africa. The video about Yoruba culture and how it has grown and moved throughout the diaspora. And wow. Shouts out to Oyotunji Village, like front and center at the beginning of the movie. It was the documentary. It was just really cool to see faces that I have actually seen in person when visiting the village. Sorry, I had to do mommy type things. So, but yeah, it was really cool. I feel like, especially us grown up in the South, we need to watch that movie. Like, that awareness, or to get some understanding, especially because there's so many of us that are still searching, still looking for that connection to home. And I love what they said, how they refer to us as Africans in the diaspora. And I thought it was really cool, like that's acknowledgement, like at your core, understand who you are. You are Africans in the diaspora. You are a descendant of Africans in the diaspora. And I thought that was beautiful. And, it made me think about why I initiated into Ifa and why it called to me so strongly. Because growing up, I had no, nothing of anything beyond Christianity, Islam, Judaism, being Hebrew. Like, that's what I knew. And so, even as I'm 43. Yeah, I'm 43. Took a minute. I'm 43. The glasses are filthy. Okay. And I didn't discover anything about traditional African culture that wasn't on TV until I was 41. So I didn't discover anything until I was older, and much, by comparison to some people, much older. And when I did, it was like home. That's the best way to describe it. It was like home. And it's honest, like I even this morning or this afternoon, I was sitting there and I was like, I went through that. How does this correlate with me and my relationship with God? And the truth is, my relationship with God prior to now was kind of just programmed. Like, you do this thing, you say this thing, and that's pretty much what you're supposed to do. I didn't have a genuine, this is my personal relationship with the Most High. I didn't have that. It was just kind of like, what I was told, and then that feeling that every time I did something wrong, I was being punished for it, that God really was pissed off at me. That's why he took my son away. That's why my relationships didn't work. Like, there was just all this feeling of I'm always and perpetually being judged and I can't get anything right. And so now what I have is this deeper understanding that when the breeze comes through and, Yoruba may say, a greeting to Oya, Ibashe, Iyansa, Oya. That is not to say the Most High, the Creator, doesn't have a hand in that. That is the aspect of Source. That is the Source consciousness within the wind, within the air, that they are greeting. They're greeting that specific aspect. It's the same thing with what you would call ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, when they're reflecting to the Neteru or the Egyptian gods as you would have them, and you talk about, the sun god Ra. That is the aspect of the creator in the sun. That is the face of the creator in the sun. It is when they talk about balance in life and they're referring to Ma'at. That is the creator wanting that balance in our life and those codes of ethics that have, been transliterated into the commandments and things like that. Um, that is what that is. And so looking at the Ifa and the Yoruba tradition and that reverence for the elders, that's, your elders are, that's our lifeline. That they are our roots. And we don't simply stop venerating them because they transition into spiritual form. That's what ancestral veneration is. It's the continuation of the reverence for our elders, for those that came before us, that those that leave before us, because, there are some ancestors that leave us as children. My son would be one. And that reverence and that honor to those energies, again, is not a reflection of, oh, they don't believe in God, they don't ask for God, and blah 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 blah. I've seen some people say, how is it so easy for you to go to your ancestors instead of going to God? It's the same. It's not that they're not going to God. It's just like in life when your grandma was alive and you needed some help and you go to grandma and grandma would say those prayers for you to the Most High on your behalf. It's the same thing. We're all still, every Ifa prayer starts with the acknowledgement of source, the acknowledgement of the creator. The consciousness around us in nature is also embodied in us. When we go through an initiation, we're simply bringing forward specific parts of our consciousness that maybe are dormant, maybe are asleep, that have the medicine that we don't realize is already within us that we can tap into. And so it brings us closer to that aspect of us, that aspect of source that is dwelling within us, that aspect of nature that is dwelling within us. It brings that aspect of us forward. So if you are lacking, I won't say lacking, where if you're not completely tapped into your courage, if you're not completely tapped into your swagger, your confidence, then you might need to initiate in Shango. It doesn't mean that Shango's energy wasn't already there, but you may not have realized it. You may have not seen the full breadth of that confidence and that swagger and that strength and that warrior energy in you. So then you get that initiation, and that's who calls to you like, hey, I'm going to come, and like this part of this person needs to be brought forward more, so this is what they need. Or if you need to tap into your more maternal side, then you might get like Yemoja to come forward, and that is what you initiate into. And that energy is like, okay, that mother is always in you, whether you are identify as man, woman, non-binary, whatever the case may be. You still carry maternal, nurturing, intuitive, creative, ashe, power, energy within your being. But if you are kind of disconnected from it, if you don't like fully have that full connection, or it just needs to be tapped in a little bit more, that might be what is called out to you for initiation. So it's not a matter of you lack energy. It is a matter of creating a deeper bond with that energy. At no point are we going outside of ourselves. It is a constant introspection within ourselves to say, what aspects of ourselves do I need to bring forward even more in my life to fully experience the richness of life, so that the Most High Source God that is dwelling within me can work through me, and I'm a more pure vessel to bring God's manifestations into this world. Yeah, I got all of that from just watching. I didn't get that from watching. It was just, that is what, that it was what was triggered in me from watching it. So I definitely encourage people who don't really know. You have an assumption. And then the other thing that came up was like this, the reminder that we were connected to source well before we were colonized, well before we were enslaved. There was always a connection to God. The connection was severed. The fact that these people were afraid of us to play drums, and you're thinking like, it's a drum. It is not simply a drum, it is a tool. and how you wield the tool, the tension behind the tool. And they understood. There was a part of them that at least understood what it means to have intention. They understood the power that we wielded. I was going to do this video, and now I feel like I need to do it, because if you don't believe in magic and spell work, I need you to explain how you can have a plantation with maybe about 5 to 10 people holding hundreds of slaves at bay. But we are the savages and whatnot, and we used to do all this kind of evil stuff and this devilry and all this other good stuff. Can you explain that? Because that's nothing short of sorcery. Nothing short of sorcery. See, what you think about a sword, you think of something that's otherworldly, but you see it each and every day. And so, but I think it is absolutely amazing, because as I watch more and more people post their like ancestry DNA and other kind of DNA results, so many of us are at bare minimum aware that there is Nigerian in our lineage, and that it is the majority, the predominant part of our lineage is Nigerian, Benin, and Congo. I've seen like, some of us can go down to the tribe, but that's where it is. And to not have an awareness of the resiliency of the blood in your veins, I feel like it's a disservice to you. You should know about that. If you live anywhere in my area and you haven't visited Oyo Tunji, I don't know what you're doing. I still got to go to get Geechee Island. Like, I got to visit the Gullah Geechee next. That's on my list. But you got to go to Oyo Tunji. Just set foot on the land. The fact that I was watching this and burst into tears, and I wasn't sad, and I can't tell you why I was crying, because it wasn't from me. All I know is something moved through me and tears hit. Like, wow. It was like tears of residual memory, tears of, wow, look at what is still here. It was just this awareness of something deep in my bones that remembered. And every time y'all do certain things, every time you throw rice at a wedding, it's hoodoo, in case you didn't know. That's, an African tradition of throwing things that relate to money, and rice would be one of those things that related to money. It might have been cowrie shells or something else back in the day, but throwing things at the bride and groom to give them abundance and things of that nature, the currency of the time, that is an African tradition. The repast is an African tradition. The repast came about because, we couldn't bury our loved ones in traditional African ways in front of the slave masters, so they would have a repast where we would, usher that new ancestor into the spiritual realm with food and libations and candles and, offerings. And so, look at how much of our culture is so richly influenced by our African roots, but then there's still so many of us say, ooh, ancestors evil, that's your blood, that's your family evil, that's what you really think? Or are you still operating from a slave master's mindset? And that's not a dig, that is what it is. Have you made your own determination? Have you talked to somebody that does ancestral veneration? Are you still stuck with taking what was told to your people by a slave master as the Holy Grail? So I encourage as many of you that feel called to watch the movie. It's on Netflix. You live near me and you don't have Netflix and your energy ain't foul, you can come to my house and watch it. We can watch it together. I'd watch it again. I was, visiting Oyo Tunji. I went for the Oshun Festival. I'll be back again at the latest July, but I'm going to see if I can get there in June. So yeah, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful to see all of these various expressions of this one tree, it's Ifa, and all these branches, and how it has permeated through all of our culture. And I love the call out. It's like, all of these other places have a place that they can go to, that it's all around them. Africa is all around them, even though they're not on the continent. And it would be nice it's nice to see more and more of that happening here, but I wish we did have more of that here in our country. So thank you so much for watching. This is Iya Nifa. In case you, let me go ahead and, after watching this, put some Iya Nifa, Dania Fa Omi Shango. And thank you so much for coming to my garden. Have a great day.